2, 1. Super Nintendo. We're going to talk about the
Sweet.
superpower.
Yeah, I was going to do. Never mind. We ruined the bit's ruined. We're talking about the Super Nintendo console of family entertainment systems today.
How's it going there,
On the
Landon? You got
GamingStooges
a boo-boo on
podcast.
your head.
My name is Jack.
I'm Cloud, and Landon's got a boo-boo on his forehead.
I'm alive, I think.
Well, it's a good
Just
thing
had a little
Landon's
bit of
alive.
brain leakage.
Yeah.
So the Super Nintendo, we've talked about a lot of systems on our podcast with different retrospectives, and somehow the Super Nintendo has not been one of them yet. And Jack,
This one,
not the original Super Nintendo, but a mini one.
I tried looking for my original Super Nintendo, which I do have. I think it's in my garage somewhere, and I did not have the time to pull it out and find it. So
that is fair.
We have the Super Nintendo Mini here. The controller is real size.
This was the loser of a poll that we had done a little while back. It got a little interrupted with what episode it was going to fall on because of the a bunch of the stuff that was happening around that point. But it was up against the PS2. The PS2 ended up getting talked about earlier. So we're going to talk about the Super Nintendo today. And Super Nintendo is a console that many regard as one of the best gaming consoles of all time, with some of the best games of all time that many consider to be among the greatest. So I hope you guys are excited to talk about this legacy console from our favorite friends at Nintendo.
I do love the Super Nintendo.
All right. So I'm going to go over a few bullet points, and then we're going to get into it as we usually do. The Super Nintendo, for those who don't remember, was released originally in North America on August 23rd, 1991 for $199. As per usual, we go with North American dates because we're filthy Americans. That's just how we roll.
It's who we are.
It was continued production for about 8 years. That ended up having production into 1999, including there was a cost-reducing version of it. I think that's the one that I actually grew up on. Was the remodel that was like I think it was like $99 or something like that.
It was like sleeker and smaller.
Yeah, although it was definitely built cheaper, and that's why it was cheaper.
Yep. Some
yeah, that's the Super Nintendo. As far as, how long did it last? Actually, Nintendo made it last 8 years, so that's pretty cool. It had several notable peripherals. There was like a mouse that you could use for like a small handful of games, like Mario Paint was the main one. They actually released a mouse accessory like the one for the Super Nintendo for the Switch, specifically to have Mario Paint, but they also, I think they just mostly did it because you can also just use the Joy-Con 2 in mouse mode if you're playing with that. So pretty cool that they did that, just as a fun fact. But other peripherals, there was like the Super Game Boy that allowed you to play your Game Boy games on the TV. It had like added color palettes. Honestly, if you want to play games like Donkey Kong Land, Kirby's Dream Land 2, these were really good games to actually play on the Super Game Boy. Pokemon Red Blue as well, because like you got a much more vibrant color palette than even the Game Boy Color could do. So it was really pretty nice. It's known for having some 3D like elements. It's not exactly 3D, but it's very close to like a proto 3D that we would see in the next generation. Everybody famously called this mode 7 because it was is the 7th mode of graphics on the Super Nintendo. It achieved lifetime sales of a little over 49 million units, 49.1 million units, almost 50 million units. 23.35 million of those units were in North and South America. This actually comes from an official Nintendo fiscal report from like 10 years ago. So like they actually like gave like their legit numbers for that. And yeah, like I said before, this system is known for being home to what many consider some of the greatest games of all time. Speaking of which, I'm going to go over a bunch of notable games and series, and I'm not going to list all of them because otherwise we would be here all night. We can talk about the games that we know about and love when we get deeper into it. But of course, you had your Super Mario World, Super Mario All Stars, you had Yoshi's Island, there was Super Mario Kart, Super Mario RPG, there was the Donkey Kong Country games, there was Super Metroid, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, there was a bunch of Kirby games. There was notably Kirby Superstar and Kirby's Dream Land 3 as far as platformers, but there was like several different side games as well. You had Star Fox, F-Zero, Pilot Wings, Earthbound, Street Fighter 2, which was released several times on just the Super Nintendo. Yeah, just so it begins. Killer Instinct is another popular fighting game. The Mortal Kombat games were also popular. Pretty good time for fighting games, honestly, if you wanted to play on console. Secret of Mana, Final Fantasy IV and Final Fantasy VI, Chrono Trigger, Mega Man X games came out as well. That was a new series, really cool. You had a lot of good licensed games, especially like if you had like Disney licensed stuff. There was like Goof Troop, The Lion King, Aladdin, the Mickey Mouse Magical Quest games. But even if you weren't like Disney, there was still some good licensed games like Batman games on the Super Nintendo. A lot of those were pretty good. There's Super Castlevania 4, Contra 3, Breath of Fire, Harvest Moon.
Harvest Moon.
Of course, there's a bunch of other stuff. And this is just stuff that did see a North American release. Because there's also some like Japan exclusive stuff like the Dragon Quest games that were that did not come over here. There's the Dragon Ball Z Super Butoden series. Like there's stuff that even if like you're not looking at North America releases, like there's a lot of really heavy hitters on this system. So yeah, let's get into it. Do you guys have experience with the Super Nintendo hardware? Actually,
Yes. Like I said, I own one.
You have one.
I did not grow up with it. This was well before my time because I was born in 95 and didn't start playing video games until the early 2000s.
Got it off the enthusiast route.
Yep. My earliest exposure to a lot of Super Nintendo games, because I didn't even have like a friend that owned a Super Nintendo. So a lot of these games I played for the first time either via emulation or the Wii Virtual Console, or
which is emulation as well. Just legal emulation. Legal
officially licensed by Nintendo emulation.
There we go. That's the one I was looking for.
But I have played a good chunk of the Super Nintendo's library, a lot of the heavy hitters. To quote IGN's famous line, it has a little something for everyone.
All right,
because feel like
we'll get more into it. Sorry. I want to give everybody a chance to. So for me personally, I did have experience with it, although I believe that my experience when I was growing up was with the cheaper revision that was like, for like, the budget people, the poor people like me and my family, because we got that and also the cheapo Genesis model at like the same time. I did play on a regular Super Nintendo though when I went into foster care because my foster parents had the original like models of the Genesis and the Super Nintendo, so I got to play a little bit of Genesis, a little bit of Super Nintendo, but I played a lot more Genesis through that. So I definitely have experience even growing up, although a lot of my experience with the actual hardware is definitely closer to when I was growing up. I would play a lot of my Super Nintendo games that I would play after just through, like you said, either like Virtual Console or emulation or like after market stuff. Like I have a Retron, I have some Super Nintendo games that I play through that. So like I don't use the Super Nintendo hardware. I haven't used it in forever, but I'm very much acquainted with the games. Obviously, all of us are. But my hardware experience is like way in the past. Landon, how about you?
I do not currently own the hardware itself. I personally never did, but people in my family have. But I've used it on occasion throughout the years. Every once in a while, I'll play Donkey Kong Country on a Super Nintendo at Portland Retro because they have like live console, live arcade, free play that you can just.
Did you actually own one at one point yourself?
No, I said I didn't. One of my brothers had one, so I did play it on his when he had it.
All right. And what was you guys' first Super Nintendo game, whether that be now strictly Super Nintendo, like not like a remake? So even if it's like, a port and it's still like the same game over to like a future system, that's fine. That qualifies. Whether you emulated it, whether you actually played it on a Super Nintendo. What was your first? Do you remember what your first Super Nintendo game was?
No, no, I don't. I want to say
If it makes you feel any better, I
Super
don't.
Mario World, just because it's
Yeah.
the most iconic Super Nintendo game. But I genuinely can't think of like what the first one I played was.
I
Like,
played so much of my Super Nintendo stuff like when I was like at least like we're talking like 25 years ago, brother. I can't remember 25 years ago that well, except for
I
like a
can't remember
few.
25 minutes ago that well.
Yeah. So like I can't tell you what my first game was because I played it all so much of it like all at once. Like it maybe it was Super Mario World, maybe it was Donkey Kong Country with a friend, and that's how I wanted a copy, or I wanted a Super Nintendo myself. Maybe it was Goof Troop. Like I have no idea, dude. Honestly, I'm gonna say it was probably either Super Mario World or it was probably Goof Troop because I feel like those were like two of my first games. Uh, yeah, sure, one of those. Landon, do you remember? Can you save us from
Uh,
this bad question?
nope.
it's not a it's not a bad question. We just have bad answers.
Bad answer, Steve.
That's more
Bad
what I meant.
answer. It was probably Super Mario World. If like I definitely remember playing that.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
I don't ever remember. I think I might. You know what? I think I might just be thinking of the Game Boy Advance version of Mario World.
Good enough.
Sure.
He said any version
It's
of.
as long as it's not a full-on remake, and that's honestly just more of like a port with some extra stuff. So like that's
Yeah.
close.
So I want to say it was Super Mario Advance. Was that 2?
Yeah, Super Mario Advance
That was
2.
Yeah, I want to say because I played all of those on the Game Boy Advance. So
Okay.
that might be it actually.
I No, I can't blame you for not remembering. The Super Nintendo is an old enough console where, like, if we played it, we probably played it young, and like the games, so like we might not even remember because we're all like in our mid
It's
30s now and early 30s. It's
it's
pretty crazy.
it's older than all of us,
It is.
and we are old.
It's older than me, and I'm the oldest one here out of the three of us. So like,
Yeah.
that's pretty crazy. Al said he thinks his first is Super Mario World. He doesn't remember either. That's okay. We can all be in this together, you know?
It's that paint they used on the console. It like gave us like brain fumes, and none of us can really remember our like earliest memories of the system.
You know, I'm willing to agree with that.
I mean, you know, like the
I'll
cheap
subscribe
paint
to
they
that.
have on the consoles that like turned yellow after 20 years
I'll subscribe to that.
or sooner.
You inhaled the oxidation.
Yeah.
Before I get into the other couple questions that I had in the document, do you guys remember just some of your earliest games, even if they weren't like your first ones, that really stick out? Because that I could pull out a laundry list for you.
In terms of ones that I actually have the cartridges for, like, and the ones that I played on original hardware, I know the answer to that one because that was slightly more recent, but still it's been a while. It's been probably 15 years, maybe not 15, but Mega Man X, although I played that one on the Wii Virtual Console beforehand. Goof Troop. That was one of the first. I think that was one of the first ones that I played on Super Nintendo hardware that I did not have like any experience with via like emulation or virtual console or re-releases or what have you. So
How far back was that?
When did I buy Goof Troop? 2013?
Okay.
2012 or 2013.
All right.
I was still a teenager.
That was right around when we were starting to talk to you, so it was quite a while ago.
We were talking before that.
Yeah.
That was just right around when I joined GamingStooges.
Yeah. So, all right, that was pretty far back.
It's been a while.
Any others, Jack?
Earthworm Jim was another one.
It's a notable game I did not list. I forgot to list that.
I think that's about it.
I know out of the games that I owned, because I definitely remember games I owned versus games I played with like my cousin, because he also had a Super Nintendo. Games I owned was definitely besides the one I mentioned, there was Killer Instinct, there was Mortal Kombat. I believe Mortal Kombat 1, because I do remember the characters sweating and not bleeding when they were punched a lot. And I remember playing it on the Super Nintendo, and I remember it being the first game of the series. I played if I didn't mention it already, no, I did. I think I did say the Lion King. I played um, Star Fox. I did play. Those were like stuff that I know that I owned. As far as like stuff that I played like with a friend, that was when I would, or a cousin. That's how I played Super Mario Kart. That's how I played Donkey Kong Country. It took me until very recently to realize I never played Donkey Kong Country 3. I definitely played 1 and 2, but I'm pretty sure I did not play Donkey Kong Country 3 because I definitely don't remember whatever the fuck that other Kong that's with Dixie is in that game. I don't remember his name. What is it, Chunky Kong?
Kitty Kong.
Kitty Kong. Okay.
Yep.
Because
he was a baby.
I was dead wrong. I definitely played Street Fighter 2 in some manner, but I don't know if that was on the Super Nintendo or if that was through a collection not super long after on a different system. Might have been like Xbox that I played it with a friend or something. But yeah, I definitely wasn't into like RPGs as a kid, so I didn't play a whole lot of that stuff. The only RPG that I played was EVO Search for Eden, and I didn't get very far. And I just came back to it this year, and I still never beat it because fuck that game. That was a pretty fun time raging in the Discord about how the bosses of the later areas can suck a dick. I think that covers pretty much everything as far as like play stuff that I played early on because as far as Super Nintendo games is concerned. Lena, do you remember other like early stuff that stuck out to you? And whether or not it was on Super Nintendo or if it was like a port.
Link to the Past GBA, baby. Get out of here. Go away. Link to the Past GBA, baby.
Oh, I thought he was going for the cartridge. He was gonna like shove it
No.
in the camera. Damn.
But I can.
Damn.
Where is it?
So yeah,
where's your Bionicle tin of GBA games? There it is.
Actually, it's not in the Bionicle tin. It has its own. All the Zelda ones have. This is not my original copy because I traded my original copy that I owned as a child to my brother for his copy of go away for Mega Man Battle Network for Blue Moon.
Oh.
Which was, some would argue, a bad trade on my end.
Yeah, maybe. One thing I wanted to get into as far as talking about Super Nintendo, actually, before we get into the other questions that I have on the document, is that many would actually say that Super Nintendo games have a habit of aging very well, whether it be through like just the original game or ports or emulation later on. And do you guys have really any idea like how you might feel about that sort of thing? Like obviously probably all agree with it, but like why that might be the case?
I think, and I've thought about this before, because you look back at the NES era and it's like, yeah, a lot of those games are still great, but like functionally they're a little archaic. Some of them haven't aged all that great. And it's the same with, the 64 when they jumped to 3D, and a lot of those games didn't age super well or didn't stand the test of time. I mean, obviously they still play a lot of them still play perfectly fine. It's just there's certain aspects to them that are a little bit dated.
Yeah, a little clunky. But
I think it just is with the Super Nintendo. They were making this more or less the same games they were on the NES, but they had less graphical limitations. They could fit a hell of a lot more onto a cartridge. It allowed them to like expand their like game design. I guess I'm trying to think of a way to word that properly, but I think it's more or less just they got into a groove, and like the hardware for the Super Nintendo just lended itself very well to the games of the time. I feel like I'm just saying bullshit right now, but I'm
I see
where
where
I'm
you're
trying to
I see where you're going
make
with it.
coherent thoughts. I've thought about this phenomenon before because a lot of the Super Nintendo games have aged remarkably well, like Super Mario World, Donkey Kong Country, Metroid, Super Metroid. I almost said Metroid Prime. Yoshi's Island, even like some of the ones that like might be a little bit dated by today's standards, like Super Mario Kart and Star Fox, still play perfectly fine. There's nothing like really functionally wrong with them.
Yeah. Like
But
I played Star Fox again after like years and years through NSO, like just a little while back, and I was like, wow, this actually plays a lot better than I remember, despite the very basic graphics.
yeah, I don't know what it is, but like Super Nintendo games were just
One thing I
really well made.
Yeah, one thing that I think stands out is the fact that because they already had so much experience with sprite-based games from the previous generation, like Master
Yeah.
System, NES, they just were basically just upgrading that and refining it with the new 16-bit hardware. Because, like you said, fundamentally they're not super different games most of the time. Like even something that seems like super high tech, like Super Mario Kart, is really just the same as like the racing games that they would have on like the NES, like, or in arcades, like
Yeah.
Pole Position, but just more refined because of the
Just
hardware.
better
And
hardware, better technology
and I
to
think
support these ideas.
and I think in addition to that, um, honestly, the Super Nintendo controller had just enough buttons to give a lot of different commands to the game too, so that you could have like a lot of different things that you could do for different games, because the previous generations were running on 2, maybe 3 buttons. And even the Genesis, even though most of the Genesis games, because of the fact that they're arcade games at heart, still aged fairly well enough, a lot of them don't age quite as well as Super Nintendo games because the Genesis controller only supported 3 buttons and a start button. That doesn't give you a lot of options. The Super Nintendo, you have A, B, X, Y, and L and R, and select was often usable as something else besides pausing. So like you had 6 or 7 buttons to just do a bunch of different shit with it. That gave you a lot of options for different genres.
Dare I say, and I don't know if I mentioned this in our controller podcast. It's been a while since that one.
It was our first
This
one.
might be what's up?
It was our first one.
That's right. The Super Nintendo controller might be one of the best designed controllers of all time. Like it fits perfectly in your hand. The buttons are the buttons
Especially
are
if you're
perfectly
just
spaced apart. I love how the Y and X buttons are like invert or not
concave instead of convex.
concave. Yeah, they're concave instead of convex. So you know,
That's a
very
Super
easy.
Nintendo specific thing. Super Famicom didn't even have that. They
Yeah,
had the color
so
buttons.
like I don't know, man. This is a really fucking well designed controller, and I know I'm holding up the SNES Classic Edition of this controller, but it is quite literally
it is
the same.
controller.
It is
It just has a
exactly
different
the same.
input at the end. I think it's just like when you think about it, like when you compare what came before as far as controllers, we're not going to get too much farther into this after we hear from Landon, but like it is like the biggest evolution controller wise relative to what came before it, while also like doing enough to make the games like have as much options as they needed it to do, while also still being like you said, just really good to hold. Like you can hold, like you could give the Super Nintendo controller to like somebody that doesn't really play video games and they can still understand the controller because it's basic enough. And like there's something special to it. Like you can't give anybody like even a modern controller unless they already know about video games and like expect them to understand all 4 of the shoulder buttons and the sticks and like everything. Like you give that to like an 80-year-old grandma and she's gonna be like, what is this? But like she might be able to understand the Super Nintendo controller if you give that to her. Oh no, Landon, how do you feel about how games on Super Nintendo have aged, and what do you think might be a possible reason for that?
Well, I do think you guys touched on it pretty well. The fact that they weren't trying anything super like new, because I feel like a lot of like the new ideas were like being pushed through like the NES era, like adapting, going from arcade to home console and trying to adapt that, but while also like sort of like defining what an RPG is and working through that like on a home console, and then what is a platformer, what is like an adventure game in the sense of like Metroid and stuff. And so
Mhm.
like they're just like refining a lot of that.
Yeah. I mean,
We
even
don't
before
we're not
Mario, even before Super Mario Brothers, like they didn't even have like the definition of like what a game on a home console would even truly be able to look like. And then after that
exactly.
revolution, you had like a bunch of years where people had to figure shit out. By now, with the Super Nintendo, a lot of people have that shit figured out, so they could just make good games now.
Yeah, so I think that helped. I think a lot of I think competition helped a lot as well, because you had strong competition from Sega and the Genesis, like
Yeah,
really
true.
pushing. You had to push. Nintendo had to push out a good platformer to compete with Sonic. So we get Super
Donkey,
Mario World,
yeah, Donkey Kong Country
Donkey
later
Kong
on.
Country.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you get that as well.
You had
So
companies
I
that
think
like stuck mostly to like one side or the other, and they were competing for with games as well. So
yeah.
yeah,
So there's that. But I think a lot of it was just like refinement of hardware, more powerful hardware. But it was like easy enough to like jump to develop. Is like, just because you have more powerful hardware doesn't mean it's necessarily better.
yeah.
Especially like we saw that like going from PS2 to PS3. You have more powerful hardware.
But
Does
nobody
it
knew how to use
easy?
it.
Yeah. If it's not like an easy enough transition between it, like, are you going to be able to make games for it anytime soon?
Yeah. I
No.
think the only thing that like people would have to like learn was mostly like the Mode 7 stuff. And honestly, like you didn't need it. You could just make a good game without it. So a
Yeah.
lot of developers, if they used it, they used it. If they didn't, they didn't.
And then like another thing is, this was during an era where you could pump games out. Like we saw like the development cycle was smaller.
Oh yeah.
So like iteration like happened a lot quicker. I mean, a lot of that was also in like the previous generation as well,
Yeah.
because like Enix put out
Dragon Quest games,
four
Mega
Dragon
Man.
Quest
You had
games.
6 Mega Man games.
Yeah, so like we see a lot of that like already, but like you, it was still possible to like easily iterate for some of the like the bigger franchises to like get get some more ideas out there. And then
Yeah.
also like porting, it was easy enough to like do enhanced ports of certain like NES games
Yep.
that you could like have time to like sink your teeth in and like actually develop. So yeah.
Yeah, and also it was pretty easy to port arcade games at the time. They were running on hardware that was of similar power, since the Super Nintendo was powerful enough. That's why you got all those like good fighting games at the time. But they also had like shoot 'em ups that were also popular in arcades that were easy enough to port over to Super Nintendo. So it just had the right hardware at the right time. So let's get into talking about just some of the really good games, just overall. Just like, so what are some of your favorite Super Nintendo games? There's a
Yeah,
lot of good
Jack.
ones.
Yeah, me?
Yeah,
Yeah, you. What's your
spotlight's on you.
favorite Super Nintendo game?
What's your favorite
Chrono
Super
Trigger.
Nintendo game? And oh, you know what? I don't know why I didn't expect Chrono Trigger. I was gonna say why is it Mega Man X, but yeah, Chrono
Dare I
Trigger.
and dare I say, I don't even know if I could actually say Chrono Trigger is my favorite Super Nintendo game, because I've never played the Super Nintendo version of it. I've only ever played the DS version, which is fundamentally the same, but isn't the original.
I've never played the Super Nintendo version either. I've played the PS1 version and then I played the DS version. The Super Nintendo version, it was, even when I was getting into Chrono Trigger, already out of my price range.
Yeah. Chrono Trigger for sure. Super Mario World, Mega Man X, Super Metroid, Kirby Superstar Ultra, Kirby's Dream Land 3, Kirby's Dream Course.
Jack being the biggest of the Kirby guys. He's like, just all the Kirby games, like every single
All
one
the
of
Kirby
them.
games. I do love Kirby's Dream Course though. I'm not bullshitting on that one.
Oh yeah. These two with their fucking
That-
Kirby's Dream Course nights where they would just hop on and play Kirby's Dream Course.
We would actually.
It was fun.
I literally took this Super Nintendo Mini to Portland, Oregon, so that Landon and I could play Kirby's Dream Course together.
Oh wow.
And we did. Let's see. Fucking there. I mean, I feel like I would just be naming the best Super Nintendo games.
There's a lot of best Super Nintendo games.
That's true. There's so many. The Donkey Kong Country trilogy. Hold on, let me come back to me. Yeah. I'll give you a top 10.
I'll say, I'm not going to do a top 10 specifically, but I'll say, I'll go like what I played oldest to most recent. Obviously I'm not actually the biggest fan of Super Mario World. I think it's great. I just have never been super big on it, so I'm actually going to skip that. I think my earliest exposure to like one of my favorite Super Nintendo games is actually going to be Chrono Trigger. That was definitely like the one that like made me like really, really care about Super Nintendo more than anything else. That wasn't even until 2008. That's like the big one for me. But also I really liked Mega Man X was also, I've literally only played the first Mega Man X, but that game is fantastic. Final Fantasy 4 and Final Fantasy 6. I played Final Fantasy 4 a lot sooner than Final Fantasy 6, but those are two of my favorites. I definitely really, really put Super Metroid like way up there now that I played that earlier in the year. Like that is one of my top favorites as well. That's like one of the most recent. Earthbound as well. That's a super recent one that I played. I played that last year. That's like also one of my favorites. There's a lot of like games that I played on that were like Super Nintendo games, either before or after actually owning one, or during or actually after one that I would say are good. But like if I had to say like my top favorites that I actually played, like at least either the Super Nintendo version or something close to it, like those are probably the ones I'm picking. Because I can't really say I love Super Mario RPG, but I never played the Super Nintendo version. I played the Switch version, which is at least graphically extremely different. And the presentation of that game is very important to it. So I can't consider that the same game. So I like a lot of other games too, like Killer Instinct and stuff like that, but they were more just like just little stuff on the side that's cute. Landon, what are some of your favorite Super Nintendo games?
Some of my favorite GBA games. Thank you for the question, Cloud.
Great question on our Super Nintendo podcast.
I was thinking, the reason why I thought of GBA is because I was thinking of Breath of Fire 2, which I played on GBA, but it is a Super Nintendo game. But I was like, I don't know if it's like a favorite. It's like I like it a lot, but
that's fair.
So I just regurgitated my thoughts out there as, oh yeah, GBA, Landon. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the GBA is a perfectly fine console. Thank you so much.
We even made a podcast
Nintendo games.
As far as Super Nintendo games go, Super Metroid is probably, for like games I have played an equivalent, like the Super Nintendo version of. I would say Super Metroid is probably my number one. I would say up there is Kirby's Dream Land 3 and Kirby's Dream Course. I have played Super Mario RPG on like the Super Nintendo version of that, and that one's pretty solid. Wow. Same with Super Mario World. And then Donkey Kong Country 2 and 1, I would probably say is my my others.
Okay.
And A Link to the Past. I do like A Link to the Past. It is not my like first choice of a Zelda game, but it is a very good Zelda game. So yeah, A Link to the Past.
I want to get into a brief discussion on it because I touched on it earlier, but the Super Nintendo and also the Genesis actually too as well for to a somewhat lesser extent were home to some also really good licensed games, weirdly enough. Like there's quite a few games that were like from licensed property that just happened to be really good. So I want to talk a little bit about those because I definitely have quite a bit of experience with those. I don't know about you guys.
Goof Troop.
Goof Troop. Uh, I've played a lot of the stuff that was like Disney related that I mentioned. Like a lot of those I did play. I played Goof Troop. I actually played that with a friend too. That's a lot of fun to play with co-op. Lion King, I played up until like the very last like kid symbol level and then just could never get past it. So I played one or two of the Mickey Mouse games, but I can't really remember exactly 100% which ones they were. And also, I'm pretty sure I played the Genesis versions, which are effectively the same game. Those two, as far as like the Mickey Mouse games, like those ones are pretty much the same. But like, I I don't really like equate them strong enough. I also really liked a Tiny Toon Adventures game, Buster Busts Loose. I don't know why. Like that game was actually pretty solid. I bought a cart for it, and it has a hard time reading when I put it in my Retron. But like I've played that game as a kid, and it was fun. And I played it a little bit recently when I got the game physical again, just to like try it out and have it in the collection. It's a pretty fun little platformer. Like you I'm not sure why there's just like so many. I remember playing one of the Batman games as well. I want to say it was The Adventures of Batman and Robin. All I remember is that there was a level where you were in like a building that looked like it was like Legos or some shit, and it was a pretty damn good game as well. So like, yeah, I don't know. There was just like a lot of games that were actually pretty solid licensed.
Speaking of licensed games, do you guys want to know something crazy? Dragon Ball Z Super Butoden, which was
Mhm.
never localized. Well, it was never brought to America. It was released in Japan and Europe, but not America initially. Dragon Ball Z Super Butoden outsold both Kirby Superstar and Super Metroid.
Yeah. Dude, it was peak Dragon Ball time over in Japan, Dragon Ball Z time over in Japan. Of course that shit was selling.
I mean,
Like
That was
yeah.
there was two things
that
that
was Cell Saga.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That was there was two. Well, Super Butoden 1 was
Cell Saga.
I thought that was Super Butoden 2.
No, it's got a picture of Cell on the box art for one.
All right, gotcha.
I mean, I think both 1 and 2 are Cell Saga, but
Yeah,
they were also like
Oh yeah,
seems
2 was more focused on like from Cell Saga onward, and the first game just kind of touched on Cell Saga. So because
Yeah.
I remember like they actually like the second game doesn't even have Goku as like a starting character. You unlock him after because they were so focused on all of that extra stuff that came out after. I just forgot that they did have Cell Saga stuff though in the first game.
yeah.
But yeah, no, like this was like literally while the anime was going on. And if there's two things Japanese players love at the time, it was Dragon Ball and Dragon Quest. So,
They love their dragons.
yeah. I mean, several of the Dragon Quest games that never came out over here are also big top sellers as well.
Yeah, we're just Dragon Quest 5 and 6 rank on that list, Jack. Tell me.
I know 5 is like super high. Like 5 sold a shit ton. I know that we know Jack's looking at the top selling Super Nintendo Entertainment System and Super Famicom games list.
Oh, you're asking where they are on the list?
Yeah.
At least where Dragon Quest 5 is on the list.
Let's see. Dragon Quest. Surprisingly, the best-selling Dragon Quest game on the system is 6.
Okay.
Which is 14th. Dragon Quest 5 is 16th, with the game in between them being F-Zero. Dragon Quest 3 is at 35, one spot below Super Metroid.
Yeah, that was a 16-bit remaster slash remake of that game. Pretty
Yeah.
cool. They did. I can't believe that they had the personnel to like get together and do remakes of the first Dragon Quest games back on the Super Nintendo while doing 5 and 6. So like all the Dragon Quest games are just on that shit. Crazy. They didn't do that for Final Fantasy. They were just like, nah, let's just do 4, 5, and 6. We didn't even get 5. They didn't even have time to localize 5. They skipped 5.
They didn't bother. Yeah.
And that's why we got the infamous Final Fantasy 2 and 3, quote unquote.
I will say, as far as like licensed games go, I don't think I played a whole lot of the Super Nintendo ones. I do own every single of the Dragon Ball Super Famicom games, though. So there's that. That's pretty much it for licensed games.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember whether I played it on the Super Nintendo or the Genesis, but there was a Power Rangers game. I think there was like a Power Rangers fighting game that I played. I remember.
I feel like that was on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, I remember using the Megazord to fight. I don't remember a whole lot about it though. Like every time I try to like go and see if I can find which game it is, I'm always like second guessing. I'm like, I don't know if that's the game I'm looking at. And like I'm looking through all of them. I can't tell. But I remember playing a Power Rangers game on a 16-bit system while I was in foster care, and I'm pretty sure it was the Super Nintendo, but I might be wrong. I don't know.
I think I mean, there's one that's just called Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It might have been that one.
Yeah,
Was
maybe.
it? Oh wait, that one I think might have been a like a platformer. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm like at least 90% certain it was a fighting game, and I remember using the Megazord. Like that much I remember. I could not tell you anything else. Yeah, no, there's just a lot of interesting licensed games.
Oh yeah, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the Fighting Edition.
It might be that one. Probably.
Yeah. Anyway,
so as far as Super Nintendo, because there's just such a large trove of games on this system, I'm sure there's a bunch that we haven't actually been able to play yet. Have you ever guys ever given some thought about some Super Nintendo games that you would like to play one day?
The Dragon Quest games for sure. Although if I did play them, I would probably just emulate the DS versions. Let's see. I never played the original Mario RPG. I played the remake though. I never played Secret of Mana. Like I think I played a little bit of it just to try it out, but I never really like got into it, and I would like to give that a shot one day. A lot of people swear by Secret of Mana being like one of the best games on the system.
Yeah, I mean,
And
there's Western fans that like they made a game called Secret of Evermore specifically for the West, and like that one apparently was really good, and like just even though it's like technically not in the same series since it was made by different people specifically for that, but like those were games that are pretty beloved.
Yeah. That's about it as far as I am aware of. I mean, there's probably like some incredible game on the Super Nintendo that I've never even heard of, but I've played pretty much all of the heavy hitters on this system.
Yeah.
Well, I say pretty much, and I haven't played the Dragon Quest games, so that some might say that is not the case for me.
Those are Japan only, exclusive. So it's really hard to.
Yeah, true.
It's hard to fault you for that one. Yeah,
yeah, that's about it.
I've mostly played even if I didn't like finish. I've definitely played like most of the games that I've wanted to get to at this point. Although there's still a few that have eluded me. Like I've never touched Pilot Wings. Like I've heard people just like rave and rant about how like they love Pilot Wings, and I've never touched Pilot Wings before. So like that might be one I'd be interested in. Secret of Mana is obviously another one I'm interested in playing that. One game that I was interested in playing is ActRaiser. because the weird like gameplay style of like there's like a god like city building section, but then there's also like side scrolling action RPG, and I'm like, that's kind of like a Super Nintendo version of Dark Cloud. I like Dark Cloud. That'd be pretty cool to play a game like that because of just the weird mesh of genres. So like that's one I've been meaning to get to. And I've also been suggested Super Castlevania 4 as one of the big Castlevania games to like give a try when I want to eventually play Castlevania. So I guess that'd be another like major one. And then the Mega Man X games past the first Mega Man X, because I haven't played anything past the first one. It would probably be like it's crazy how much I've actually already played, and it probably helps that Nintendo has tried to make so many of their personal back catalog available like all the time everywhere. Like
Yeah.
almost or pretty much every major Nintendo published game is on NSO now, that you could like the Nintendo Switch Online service, you could just play it on the Super Nintendo Classics catalog. And they had they had a lot of their big hitters on the Super Nintendo Classic mini console that Jack has behind him. And they've re-released a lot of their games on Virtual Console on Wii, 3DS, Wii U. So like, there's been a lot of opportunities to replay some of the stuff Jack mentioned earlier. They ported a lot of a bunch of these Super Mario games to the Game Boy Advance using their Super Mario All Stars versions. So like, there's that. They ported quite a few Game Boy Advance games to, or not Game Boy Advance games, Super Nintendo games to different systems, including Game Boy Advance or DS. So like, they've given you a lot of chances to play a lot of these classics. Like developers, publishers, Nintendo, third party, like they really like their Super Nintendo games. They want you to play them. They've made a lot of these very accessible outside of the licensed stuff, because the licensed stuff, sometimes you can work with it, sometimes you can't. So, it's give or take there. But like, if it's not licensed, there's a good chance you could probably play it somewhere else. So.
That's why it took me so long to play Goof Troop. I had to buy an actual Super Nintendo and a cartridge to play it.
And then they went ahead and finally added it to a collection that's on that you can get on Switch 2 after like so many years, because it's on it's on the Disney Afternoon collection on Switch 2.
I gotta buy that collection. I know that Goof Troop doesn't have online, but fuck, Goof Troop is so good. What a great game.
I mean, wouldn't you be able to use I think there's like a workaround where like certain games you can like not specifically through game share, but like be able to like send it. Oh, I can't remember. There's like because of the way that like the Nintendo Switch 2 has like its like social features, like there's a way to like work around to do it, because that's how you can play Super Bomber or some of the Bomberman games on the Super Bomberman collection.
If we can find a way to play Goof Troop together for a stream series, we should do that.
That would be awesome, honestly. I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you already mentioned all the games that you wanted to get to. What about you, Landon? Any Super Nintendo games you still haven't really played?
I was looking up what Al mentioned that he wanted to play the Compati Hero games, and I was like, what is that?
Yeah,
and then I realized I own one of those games.
Really?
Of course
I
you
do.
do.
Yeah, it's they're like crossover games for Bandai.
Oh, okay, that
for
would
like
make sense.
Ultraman, Kamen Rider, and Gundam, and some of them have like Godzilla, Devilman.
There you go.
Get a Robo.
You probably were like, Godzilla's in that game? Purchased.
Well, actually, a friend of mine gave me one of their extra copies because they bought one.
Oh, sick.
That they already have, and they're like $3 cartridges for the Super Famicom, and they just gave it to me. So
that's one really cool thing when it comes to like the Super Famicom, is that at least with Super Famicom, because they're not fucked over by the stupid North American market, a lot of their games are stupidly cheap. At least the Super Famicom itself.
Some of them are cheap.
Yeah, some of them are like really like expensive. Depending on which series we're talking about, you can find a lot of Super Famicom games at least for cheap on average.
There are like the costs are going up, and not just because of inflation and all that nonsense, but
Just
people
there's
like to go over to Japan now and just buy suitcase fulls of
yep,
cartridges and then bring
yeah.
them back and then sell them.
It's like because like now that like a lot more people are going out to Japan, and because of the fact that there's literally no new Super Famicom or Super Nintendo cartridges being made ever, like the well's starting to dry up. So people are like, all right, where's the cheap alternatives? And going to Japan and getting Japanese copies is the alternative. So, but
Yeah.
there are still quite a few that are cheap. It's just
No, there definitely is. It's way cheaper to get like Chrono Trigger or Kirby's Dream Land 3 on the Super Famicom version. As far as games I would like to play, speaking of Super Famicom, the Fire Emblems.
yeah.
I would like to play all. There's 3 Fire Emblems on it. One of them's a remake of the first,
Yeah.
like that first 2.
Yeah, I don't remember the
Hold
name
on,
of
I have
that
it.
one, but obviously you have Genealogy of the Holy War and Tharcia 776 as like the new ones. And those two are like
Correct.
those two are actually like in the same universe, correct? They're not like separate. I'm pretty sure they're this. Al would probably know better than us, but I'm pretty sure those two games are actually in the same setting. 3 is half a remake of 1 and new story.
That's this one.
Okay.
New.
In a sleeve.
It's kind of, it's plastic.
Yeah.
It's like what it came in.
I see.
And then that one's Genealogy of the Holy War. I don't have Tharcia 776 because that one is $300.
Yep.
It
doesn't. Well, yeah, because Tharcia 776 came out like stupidly fucking late in the console life. Like
stupid late.
We're talking
a
about
fun
like
fact
well into
about
the
like
N64.
how some games were released in Japan at the time is what you could do is you could take your cartridge and you could go to a kiosk and then you could overwrite your cartridge.
Yep.
Like it would be like a blank cartridge and you could overwrite your cartridge with a new game. And then you could just keep cycling this one cartridge and it was like cheaper. And this is specifically Japan.
Yes.
Even though I'm using
you're using a Super Nintendo cartridge as you're holding it up to show. Yeah, but yeah, no, they had kiosks that did that. That was also on NES as well. I don't remember how late they went into that sort of thing. But yeah, that was a thing you could do.
I got this cartridge. My point is they for Tharcia 776, they the standard release for the game was on one of those like blank cartridges. Like so it has like a Super Famicom memory or whatever is the label, and that's how like most of them went out. And then it was like a very special release for
the actual
776 is like actual labeled cartridge. So that's why it's like so expensive. On top of it being released super duper late, and being a Fire
honestly
Emblem
with
game.
that sort of situation, I'm surprised it's still like in that price range. I'm surprised it's not even higher.
Yeah. So, but hey, maybe I'll be able to afford it with not having to buy as many games going forward.
Yeah, you know what? We'll get into that after a break. Jack, why don't you go ahead and catch everybody up with the house cleaning?
I can do that. Give me just a second.
But before that,
All right.
actually, how about we wrap up our thoughts on the Super Nintendo? Good console?
Great console. One of the best.
Yeah. I definitely don't have a fondness for it at the same level, like the nostalgia that some people have. But I like when you look at the library, like it's hard to deny that the Super Nintendo wasn't one of the greatest consoles of all time because the library is what matters at the end of the day, and it has the library.
I don't even have like nostalgia for this system, and I'm like, this is one of the best systems of all time. Like,
Landon,
it's so good.
Landon is for the listeners. Landon's like sitting there like paused, and I think he wanted to like unpause when we got into the second half. But how do you feel about the Super Nintendo overall?
I agree with you guys. I have literally zero like nostalgia feeling for it. never owned one even. But if someone like pointed a gun at me and was like, name a top 5 console, I'd be like, I guess Super Nintendo.
It
is like, it's definitely up there.
it goes to show that like I'm probably the one with like the most experience like as a kid being able to grow up with the system for some amount of time, and like I don't even have enough. I don't like I have some nostalgia but not enough. Like I'm actually more on like the Genesis side of things as that sort of thing is concerned. But like you can pick up Super Nintendo at any age and you can respect it, you can appreciate it. That's just a good fucking console. Like not every
I
console
own a Genesis.
not every
And I
console
would
can do that.
I own a Genesis, and I would say probably the Super Nintendo is the better of the two consoles.
Yeah, I would agree.
All right. Now
I
Jack,
think they're both like
yeah,
fairly
cool.
close, like
Oh yeah.
fairly close. But I
Yeah.
I personally would give Super Metroid, Chrono
It's
Trigger.
it's one of those things where like it's because the Super Nintendo is one of the first systems where you had like games with like a crazy scope to them. Like Genesis had some really good games, and there are some games that reach that level, like Phantasy Star 4, but you're not seeing that very often. Super Nintendo, like there was so many developers just pushing the absolute envelope of like how good a game could be, how big and expansive a game could be for that hardware. So like like you've got some crazy spectacular games on here. So yeah, Jack,
All right.
go ahead and do the housekeeping for us.
Okay. Hey, everybody. It's me, Jack from the Gaming Stooges, here to tell you about the Gaming Stooges Patreon. You can subscribe to us at patreon.com/gamingstooges for either $3 or $5 a month. The silver and gold tier Stooges, respectively, not respectfully, Jesus.
But also
Helps
respectfully.
But also respectfully, just not the word I meant to use.
No.
At the Silver Stooge tier, you get access to exclusive content that we post on a monthly basis, including one-off videos like tier lists, alignment charts, tabletop games like Delta Green, and a bunch of other stuff. In addition to that, you also have access to voting rights on future content. As we mentioned earlier, this podcast topic was a poll loser to the PlayStation 1. Is that right?
PlayStation 2.
PlayStation 2, that's right. Sorry, I can't even remember the fucking podcast we did like 2 weeks ago.
It was like a month and a half ago at this point, honestly, because we had to do
was it? Okay.
Because we had to do like the summer announcement stuff in before that, and there was like another topic.
And then we did the Switch 2. The most recent one was the Switch 2 year 1, right? Yeah. Okay. I thought it had been.
It's been a little while, but it was the sequel consoles, Nintendo versus Sony, that we did.
That's right.
And this just ended up being the loser, and it ended up getting pushed back. So, yeah.
Either way, very often we will have polls in regards to future content, whether it be podcast topics or stream titles. Cloud fairly recently just had a poll for his next stream title, and that is between Ape Escape 3 and No More Heroes 2. Is that right?
Actually, the Ape Escape game that's on there is a side game.
That's right.
Because I've already played Ape Escape 3. So the two are No More Heroes 2 Desperate Struggle. I would be playing the Switch version, but it's a very good Wii classic game.
Yep.
And then Pumped and Primed, Ape Escape Pumped and Primed. That is a side game on the PS2 back during the height of Ape Escape. And it's like a weird like mini game collection style game, but like you do a bunch of like obstacle course mini games sort of stuff. Like it's like athletic mini games. And there is a story to it, and you can play as a bunch of different characters, which is why I was like, I used to love that game as a kid. So I was like, you know what? I can do one more Ape Escape game, and that's going to be the one. So like I put it in the poll. So far it's winning in a landslide. So I guess we're playing more Ape Escape.
Yeah, I voted for the Ape Escape. Because I saw the name Pumped and Primed, and I'm like, oh, that's lewd.
That's the name of the game. That's what they did on PS2. They just have weird names on PS2.
That sounds like a Ratchet and Clank, like a scrapped Ratchet and Clank title, Pumped and Primed.
Dude, it does. Like, it definitely does. Like, you know, it had Going Commando, Up Your Arsenal, Pumped and Primed. Yeah. Like it just sounds.
There you go. That's the Ratchet and Clank trilogy right there.
That's my favorite Ratchet and Clank game.
Yeah. Let's see. At the gold tier, gold Stooges tier, you get access to everything in the silver Stooge tier, in addition to a personal shout out from us, the Gaming Stooges, or usually me, because I'm the one that reads them. So shout out to Al, shout out to Pixel, and shout out to Brian, who's a new $5 gold tier Stooge member for us. So thank you to those guys. Thank you, Al, who is in the chat right now.
Yeah.
And you're welcome, Al. He just said thanks.
Streams.
And streams. Cloud just
I'm still in the middle of.
Or it's
I'm in
finished.
the middle.
Okay, you're still in the middle of it. I was going to say I didn't think
this
we're done with it
week.
yet.
Should be finishing this week.
But Sonic Frontiers. Cloud is about to finish Sonic Frontiers.
I'm doing
the
another story DLC version of the like end game, because when you get to the last world, when you get to the last thing, like they do like the Sonic movie portal, and like you can go into that to do an alternate version of the last world. And a lot of people, they don't really a lot of people that play the game, they don't really seem to like the original version of the final world. So I was like, you know what, fuck it, we'll do the stuff that they added in the updates. So ended up getting through all of the parts where you play as the other characters, Tails, Amy, and Knuckles. You get to play as them for a little bit, and you'll be able to switch to them later if you want. But I like just got control of Sonic and was like going around and doing shit with that. So it's we got to do trials where we do stupid shit to appease the ancient race, I guess. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Landon is currently playing through Dragon Quest VI, and I assume that's still going fairly well.
Yeah. We are, I don't know how far we're in. We what did I even do last week? I don't know. We've done stuff. It's been going well. We've been making progress. I can tell you that much. It's a lot of switching between the two. Oh, we just got the ability to go underwater in the boat. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah, because you were like talking to me. You were like, hey, we got three or two or three different hub overworlds. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's like 3 worlds, because you have the dream world, the real world, and then you have
the underwater world.
Underwater for the real world. So it's a lot.
Jack, how's Xenoblade going?
Xenoblade Chronicles is going quite well. It's been an absolute blast so far. We are on
Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, Nintendo Switch 2
edition. Nintendo Switch 2 edition.
Thank you.
We just got Melia in the party. We are on chapter 7. We're at Frontier Village. I was farting around and doing some side quest shit at the end of the last stream, but we are about to meet Ricky in the next stream, which will be cool.
You got to play Xenoblade Kart.
We got to, Xenoblade Kart. It's so sick. They like at one point during the game, the Nopon engineer who like introduces the carts in general, like you do a quest for her, and then she's like, all right, here's the cart. I don't need it. I just wanted to make it.
Yeah.
And then like later in the game, she like arrives right after a big story segment, and she's just like, we have races now, come visit. And it's just like, yeah, they do have, you can just drive around the Gower Plains and do like races and other challenges and shit. It's so cool. What a great game.
A game that got even better for you.
It's truly.
Oh yeah.
And that's about it.
All right.
All right. Time to move on. Time to get angry.
All right. So, that was probably going to be our podcast, but we're going to talk about the Sony bullshit. There's been big gaming news, and we don't usually talk about like topical stuff on our podcast unless like it's really, really big. But this is really, really big, and it affects us personally on a very deep level. Sony actually recently announced that as of January 2028, that they will not be producing physical discs for any PlayStation games, and that is not just their own games. That is all games coming to PlayStation will no longer have discs. So, yeah, the physical production is going to And basically we're at the end of at the start of 2028.
See this? This
trying
is
to
going to
pull up
become a
the-
thing of the past.
Okay, I wanted to read now. As much as I don't think they deserve our respect for this, I'm going to read the blog post anyway. So as per PlayStation on their official blog, this was posted on the 1st of January of July. They said, as consumer preferences in the broader entertainment industry continue to shift away from physical discs to digital, physical game disc production for all new games releasing on PlayStation consoles, that was specifically worded, will be discontinued starting January 2028. Following this date, new games will be available on PlayStation Store and at retailers in digital formats only. This transition has no impact on games that that already released or will be releasing prior to January 2028 in disc format. They elaborate a little bit on this, saying that like if you released your game before the deadline, they'll still have like a way for them to reissue physical copies for games that are already out, but I don't know how long that's going to last. They didn't specify that shit. Continuing on, this is a natural direction for Sony Interactive Entertainment to adapt to consumer trends as the general preference for digital media significantly outpaces physical discs. This transition will enable us to align more closely with how most of our community prefers to access and play games today. We'll continue to prioritize our resources to drive innovation in how players can access games and provide choices as to where players prefer to purchase new games, whether it's at retailers or PlayStation Store. We remain committed to delivering a world-class gaming experience to our fans, and we thank you for your continued support. Also, for more updates on PlayStation Store for PS3 and PS Vita announced today, please click here. Yeah, they also announced that, but we're not going to talk about that part. That part, it sucks, but whatever. Yeah, so no more physical PlayStation games. This game I am holding up right here, for the listeners, I am holding up a copy of Xenosaga Episode 3 for the PlayStation 2. This is a very expensive game now on the secondhand market, by the way. This game is there is a physical disc in this case. There you could put this. I know this is really scary for Sony. So if your name is Sony,
that makes them so mad.
Yeah, that was such
Does this make you mad, Sony?
The video game donkey video was so funny, but yeah,
it's hilarious.
All right, let's get into it.
You want to see something that'll make Sony really, really mad?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Boom.
Oh, Wind Waker HD for the Wii U.
Mad. They're so mad.
They're so mad. You know, another one that's gonna make them mad. Fucking this
Super
one
Mario
right here.
Galaxy 2.
That one makes Sony mad.
So, let's get into it. Jack, you haven't, obviously, all three of us, this sucks. All of us are not happy about this. Spoiler alert. But, we haven't really been able to talk directly to each other about this yet. So I really want to just get this out, get our thoughts and feelings out there. And I want to start with you, Jack. How are you feeling, reacting? Did you see this news right away, or did you have to wait till a little?
I saw it right away. People were talking about this immediately. It's so funny too. I'm gonna get to my thoughts, but Sony posted the tweet announcing that they would end physical media for their systems, and people were just it brings me, at the very least, it brings me joy to know that there are a lot of people out there like us that are just as pissed off as we are that they're doing this, because the replies are just filled to the brim with people just being like, fuck you, Sony, discs are forever, owning a game digitally isn't really owning it, blah blah blah. And they went 5 solid days without tweeting anything again, and a bunch of people are just like, come on, Sony, post again, we just want to talk. We just want to talk.
Yeah,
and then they did, and it was just for some and then they did, and it was just for some fight stick, and everybody was just like, you're ignoring the subject, Sony.
Well, I want to hear what your feelings though and thoughts are, you specifically,
on Sony ending physical media.
Yes.
Stupid. It's bullshit. I hate it. I could articulate my thoughts and talk about how bad it is for the industry.
Yeah.
And it's horrible for the industry.
How did you first react when you saw the news? Because I'm not gonna lie, for me, I it was so early in the morning. Like I had to like do a double take, and I had to be like, is this real? Like, is this actually like Sony officially stating this, or is this like, am I getting like punked? Is this
You did
AI
that.
just like post it? Like, is this real? And
You
it
did
was
that one
real.
meme of the guy like waking up early in the morning, and he's just like,
Yeah, like I couldn't really believe it at first, and then when I realized that it was like the official blog post, I was like, you're fucking kidding me, dude. I knew this was going to happen eventually. Like obviously they were going to move towards this one day, but like this soon in the middle of a generation where like they do have a decent enough physical, we'll get into that. Like they want to
yeah,
claim that like a lot of like most like a large majority of their people are digital, and they're fluffing some numbers. Let me tell you, brother, they are fluffing some
they
numbers, and it's
they for sure are.
it
It I mean they post like, I think Sony posted like, or I don't know if they posted or if someone posted like the total, like the most popular games on PS5 by like user playtime, because they can track that. And they used this to justify saying that like nobody wants physical games anymore. They just want to download. They want to download their games and play it on their systems. It's bullshit. But
yeah.
all of the games in that top most played list is like populated entirely by shit that like either children or non-gamers play.
I have to assume, because I didn't get to see this because I'm not on a lot of social media. I'm not on pretty much any social media. I have to assume a lot of the games that were on that top 10 list were also games that are live service that do not have a physical copy whatsoever,
Yes.
or like games
Year
that like, sorry,
it's yearly titles. It's
yeah.
like it's Fortnite, it's Roblox, but it's also FIFA, Madden, Call of Duty, the kind of shit that people aren't going to pay for, but they have Plus and they'll download those games when it's free on Plus. And so many of those games' downloads and playtime comes from the fact that they were at one point available on Plus to download.
Landon, I want to get you in on this. How did you first react to it? Like how, like I'm, I don't
I
even know.
I think I pooped myself.
You
I
pooped
think
yourself.
Just
something
now, or
happened.
when you first saw the news?
Yes.
Both.
Okay, just make
Let me hold on.
Whenever he hears about that, whenever he hears
Ugh.
about the death of physical media, he just has a bowel movement. Like it's
Yeah,
just
those are the only times I have bowel movements now. And it's constant. I have constant diarrhea. Um,
I mean,
no, it definitely like it was definitely very early. I saw it on the Twitter, and obviously everything has like snowballed since. It is very upsetting. But I feel like I came. This has been like a concept in my mind for a while, especially like will I ever buy a PlayStation 6, especially after like Sony's PS5 like life cycle. And I was already like off the boat. Like the things I buy it for is The Legend of Heroes.
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I
yeah.
I was thinking about that too. It was like, was I going to get a PlayStation 6? Like in if we weren't in the current economic climate that we are currently in right now, like like maybe, but the thing is like the current economic climate, you have Xbox and PlayStation raising their prices left and right, and this PlayStation 6 is not going to be any cheaper. Like if we're being serious, like I don't see the home console version of the PS6 being under $1,000, and the handheld, I don't see it being under $800. If they manage anything less than that, it's a goddamn miracle, because I don't see it happening. And I'm not going to spend $800 even on the handheld, and knowing that they're going to be all digital, especially after this announcement, but also I could presume that was probably going to be the case, because if they're doing a rumored handheld, because of how like they've been doing like a low power mode for the PS5 to like test the waters, and how like they've been apparently there's like multiple SKUs for the system, and one of them seems to hint that it's going to be a handheld. Like that, knowing that they were going to have to go digital in order to have some sort of parity between the different SKUs, like I already was prepared for that possibility, but like it really just sounds like they're not even going to have an option whatsoever. And they've definitely confirmed that there's not going to be an option whatsoever. And I just, all right, here we go. Here's my crash out. I am so pissed more than anything that they are removing an option. I am probably the person that buys the most digital games out of the three of us at the current day, in the current moment, because I'll go on the eShop and I'll find like cheap shit all the time. I'll be like, sure, why not? I'll give it a try. And like, I don't mind buying digital. And in fact, like I think it's cool that like there's like some developers that like if without digital, they have almost no way to get their games out there. So like it's cool, it's fine. But like when you don't give me the option whether I want a physical or digital, then that what you are doing is you are trying to control a market, and they want to be able to say, "Oh, you are going to spend your money on the PlayStation Store. We don't want you spending your money at retail, and even if you do, because it's a digital code, we're going to get more of the money. We're going to get more of the cut of that game because it's going to be a digital code at the end of the day. They don't want you to go to like a used game store and be able to buy a PlayStation 6 game. They don't want you to have to be able to shop and compete for prices because there's a physical game that's like $30 and on the PS store it's $60-$70. They don't want any of that. They want you to spend all the money, and they want all of that money. They don't want to have to take a cut away from that.
It's like, because like Sony games on Sony platforms like often depreciate in value like very quickly, like quicker than like at the very least a lot quicker than they do on Nintendo systems. So like a game like uses an example that someone brought up the other day, God of War Ragnarok, which you can buy on PS5 for like $30 on Amazon. And Sony,
great deal, by the way. Great deal, by the way. $30 for Ragnarok.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, $30 for that game. It's insane deal. Sony doesn't want you to have that deal though. They want to cut out the middleman and sell it exclusively through their own store, and then only go on sale when they say it can, which is, by the way, almost never. Yep. Full price games rarely go on sale on the PSN store.
I'm so pissed about it. And like, they wanted to like use the excuse, well, it's because most of the games that we sell are digital. And the thing is when we got, so that it's technically it's true, but the thing is they're fluffing the numbers to make it look even worse than it really is. So like they have there was reports that it was like a 78-22 in favor of digital split overall when you factor in everything. But when they say overall, that counts, as we said before, games that do not have a physical copy to speak of. So you're lumping in these games that are only digital into that and just factoring everything as, as is. So, and they're also like, so they're factoring in that and not like comparing like just the games that they have like both options for. An Insomniac leak that is a little outdated. It's a couple years old. The data that only really goes to like the launch of Astrobot as like the newest thing, and that, or Spider-Man 2, and that was like last year, so it's not super new data. But like we had
this 2024 data, I believe. Yeah.
So like we have information that like at worst some of the biggest games are still getting like a 40% physical, which is significant. That's almost half. Yeah. And like games like God of War Ragnarok were 3/4 physical. Three quarters like almost, in the launch period, at least. Like almost there might be more than that, but
like almost all major like Sony published titles on PS5 are actually like selling better physically than they are digitally.
Astrobot like, is a little bit God of War
Ragnarok, the Spider-Man games, like
so when they say, oh, it's because like most of our games are digital, yeah, technically that's true if you're counting everything, but like 70 million, I think, was the amount of like discs that were printed last year, is still a significant amount compared to, I think, what the total for that, like in general, was like 300 some odd million. It was like, dude, like that's a lot of games the reason why you want to get rid of physical has nothing to do with, oh, there's not enough money in it. Or there's not enough games being sold that way. It's because you don't want the cost that takes, and you don't want to have to compete with other storefronts. You just want all the money. Like it's not because there's not enough people buying physical. Like that's bullshit. It's that I'm not buying that shit. That's fucking bullshit. I don't believe it.
Al brings up another good example. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is full price $70 on the PS Store, while on Amazon it is $16.99 physically for PS5.
It's a bigger thing for the third party stuff at for sure too. And like I'm not gonna get it twisted. Like I think that this was something that major publishers also wanted Sony to do. Like Sony is doing them a favor by not having to charge them money to print a disc that then they lose extra money on when it has to go out to retail, or when it has to be sent out through like Amazon and other big box, like shipped out like that. Like they don't want to have to deal with any of that. And the third party, like let's say Sony has to take out their 30%, or if like they're doing like deals with a certain publisher, whatever that percentage happens to be, could be lower. With Rockstar, it probably is for GTA 6. But like they, instead of having to like only get like, let's say like $50 out of the 70, they get to have $50 out of the 70 rather than like 40 or 35, because they have to factor in the cost of sending that out. Like the publishers are definitely happy. It's literally there's nothing in that for like, so like Sony's not like doing anything to like piss them off. Like they're doing them a favor, honestly. Like it hurts us as the consumers. Like it's taking away our choice and our rights as consumers, because they just don't want to deal with it. Because the big company that doesn't have the money for the games, ooh, like I'm sorry,
Mr. Obama,
Mr. Obama,
save us, Mr. Obama.
Like
physical media is dying. Like
Landon, literally the PS5 copies of some of the games that you buy are the only physical copy that currently exists now, because with Nintendo, like some of these games they just end up on game key card. And Xbox, when your system SKU is like 80% the Series X, the Series S that has no physical disc drive, obviously like fucking nobody has physical Xbox games, so forget that shit. And PC,
or they don't even release on Xbox.
Yeah, or they don't even release on Xbox as well. They don't bother to release on Xbox. PC is like 99.99999% digital, except for like that one time when Baldur's Gate 3 had a physical release. Like there's like, so the PS5 is literally the only option if you wanted a physical copy of that game right now. And like you're just not going to have that after 2028. There's just gone.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gone.
I can't imagine how frustrating that must be for you, or like there's some games that like you really like, you absolutely want a physical copy, and there's going to be some games where there will be no option.
Yeah, it's pretty much, and I said this in our Discord chat, is the only series, I think the only company I will still probably buy games for, even like remotely close to full price after this, is probably going to be Falcom Games, available through GOG, and that's it. Yeah. Like I don't need Persona 6. I don't need a Dragon Quest. Like there's so many of those I can go back and play, revisit if I really want to. Like or I can buy it when it's super cheap, or find an alternative way to play it that is not like I don't need to spend $60, $70, $80 on something that is going to end up being a temporary license at the end of the day.
Yeah. Not only, I mean, to bring up the fact that it is just a temporary license. I mean, Sony just recently removed over 500 films from the PS Store, just gone.
And
goodbye.
Like, yeah, they haven't yet taken games off the store entirely on their own, but that doesn't mean they won't. That doesn't mean they can't do it. They absolutely can. Games get delisted all the time. And like, one day they might not, like a storefront, You may not even be able to re-download your games. Right now, you have that luxury, but we don't know how long that's going to last. Like we're
And
still only 20 years out from the digital age of games starting. We don't know if that's going to last another 20 or 40 or whatever.
Yeah.
especially with how this is a closed, like, I mean, a lot of people want to be like,
Ecosystem.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, this is a closed ecosystem. Whereas people were like, what about Steam? What about, that Epic Games Store? Well, that's all like the PC is an open system.
Yeah. You have options. They're digital
Like,
options, but they're options.
yeah, so you can still go and shop options for like price points, even
Yeah.
if you don't want to use Epic.
Yeah.
But like, they're an option that usually, you can find a price. You don't get that on
Yeah.
if you're playing specifically on a PlayStation, which is
Yeah.
And with the digital thing,
hard.
like even if they put it on retail, the retailers can't change the price on it. They just have to sell it at whatever Sony's store has it listed at. Like they can't compete with that. It's not the same thing. And you know what really pisses me off too is like this is Sony. This is the company whose online infrastructure is spotty at best. How many fucking times has the system been hacked? How many times has PlayStation been hacked? And they want people to go into PlayStation 6 into an all digital future and trust Sony, this company who's just trust them with your accounts that could get hacked at any time for all of your PlayStation 6 games. That's what they want you to do. They want you to trust us, bro. Yeah, just trust them, bro. Like, oh my God, that pisses me off so much.
That was always an argument I would make to people when they were like, why would I want to buy your like a PSN voucher through you? This while I was working at GameStop. Why would I buy this through you and not just go directly to Sony and just put my credit card in? I was like, yeah, you could do that. They've been hacked as recent as like 3 weeks ago, bro.
The reason that people will go into a store and buy the code is because they don't trust Sony with their credit card information. And honestly, they're fucking right to do so. Like,
yeah. Yep. So like I would tell people all the time that, I mean, you can give me cash and you don't have to worry about your information necessarily being stolen.
I think like Nintendo has a chance to just like absolutely rule the console market by like just cutting a deal, or I don't know about cutting a deal, but like, I mean, soon enough, like GameStop is only going to be selling like Nintendo games
and like, codes and boxes, like and
Nintendo games and codes and boxes, and the occasional hardware. But like,
and let's be real, most people, if they're going to get a digital game, yes, you have the odd person who will come in and they'll get the code card or the code in the box purchase. But the vast majority of people who are buying a digital game are not bothering with that. They're just going on the store and downloading the game directly because that is, for them, the whole fucking point of a digital game. So like like you were saying, Jack, go ahead with the store presence thing. Like it's only Nintendo left.
Yeah, no, I mean like Nintendo has a chance to just like really push for like, I mean like they could just do like a partnership with GameStop and just be like, we're a Nintendo store now. Buy your Nintendo games here. I mean, I'm not saying that they should, but like
now
Sony and Microsoft aren't going to be doing this shit.
I don't like the fact that it's tied to a code, to basically a download handshake to get the game. But at this point, like I would, if I have to buy a digital game, I would rather buy like a game key card, and I'd probably just rather buy it used. Like at least like I can just not give the company that published the game my money at that point, and I could still get the game. Like I'd rather just go on eBay or go on like whatever website has like used games and just be like boop 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 and just be like, okay, Kingdom Hearts 4 has been out like 3 years already. Can I get like a game key card copy of it for like $20-$30? Okay, cool. I can't even get that option on PlayStation when they move forward with this. I don't even get that option. At least with the game key cards, I'll have that one day. Like I won't have to pay full price for it, and I'll be able to like find something that has, even if it's not going to last me forever, it's like something. Like they're not even going to keep the game key discs. And that was already something they were doing for like a year plus or so. for like since like at least 2024, there was like more and more games where like the disc wasn't even the full game. It would have a partial download, or it would have like the full game just about outside of like a little bit of like important data would be on the disc, would be like all of the rest of it would be you would download it. And it's like I just it pisses me off, man. I don't like that Sony is just taking away all these options. It's like Landon said, with an open ecosystem on the PC, like if I have to get a game absolutely 100% digital, no physical option whatsoever, not even a physical download as a game key card is, like I'll just go on a PC, I'll just go on PC. Like I could use, GOG, good old games, I could use that. If it's not on GOG, Steam has sales out the ass that blow Sony's sales out of the water every time. And like, yeah, there's no, the rights thing isn't there because Sony or Steam has DRM too, but like I'll probably be able to get a game for like sub $20 almost whenever on Steam versus PlayStation. And I'll have other options available because it's PC. Like I can do mods, I can do
Yeah,
like I could eventually put it on like on a device that supports Steam OS. Like I'll have more that I can do than PlayStation would give me.
it's like that tweet I saw the other day where it was something like, does Sony not realize that like once they go full digital, people will just realize that like owning a PC and downloading Steam or GOG is a much better option, or are they just fucking stupid?
And like
Because like
I used to champion consoles over PC as a form of like it's more accessible, but when the next PlayStation is basically not going to be accessible in any way because of how much it's going to cost, like that doesn't even exist anymore. Like at that point, you are just better off spending in a couple hundred extra dollars and getting a PC that will last you longer and do more.
And not only that, but like especially with Steam, games go on sale way more often and they get like crazy good deals. Like the kind of like even like recently released full price games usually go on sale for at least like 20 or 30% off. And like games that are like maybe a year or two old often get put on sale for like 75 to even like 90% off. And it's like,
Dude,
it's just a better deal.
I remember when I bought Sonic Generations on Steam. This was before they did Sonic Cross Shadow Generations. It was on sale for $2. Like
Yeah.
you're not getting a game like that for $2 on the PS Store. I'm sorry to tell you, that just doesn't fucking happen. Every now and again, you might get like a decent like 50% off sale for like a game that's $70, so you still have to spend like 30 fucking dollars on PSN. But like that's just like you're not getting that sort of a deal most of the time on PlayStation. Like that's no, it's just like I can't see any of this being good. Like every angle I look at this from is bad. It's going to kill off a lot of stores that are only selling like current like gen stuff or close to current gen stuff over time. Like there's not going to be a used game market at all. There's like for us there's no like it takes away our options. Like just every angle I look at it from, it's just all bad. It's just all bad. Like I don't know how to else to put it. It's just yeah, I don't know. It's like Jack, is there what do you think you're gonna do with like Persona 6, or like if there's like another like game in a series that you like coming out? Because let's be real, Persona 6 is not coming out until after this all happens.
No.
It's not getting a physical PlayStation release. At best, maybe there's gonna be a game key card on Switch 2, but that's literally it.
I guess just eventually hope for a game key card,
On a
or if it
sale,
has
maybe.
one, go buy the PC release.
Yeah.
I don't know if they said for sure or not if it will have a PC release at launch, but like I'll play it on PC. Fuck it. It's better than buying a fucking PS6.
I mean, at the very least, like Steam, it's not nearly hacked as often, especially not on the scale that PlayStation is always hacked. Like, you're probably more secure as long as you're not an idiot on Steam than you are with PlayStation. Like, you buy a game, you use your account on Steam, and you might be safe. as far as like the security part goes. Like you can't guarantee that with PlayStation. Like Landon said, when like people were coming in and like making that argument, it's like, yeah, but you're trading like the convenience for the security, like the security for the convenience. Like, it's I don't know. I know there's a lot of people out there that are like so big on PlayStation. They're like so entrenched in the ecosystem. They're like those Apple heads that like always move up to the next iPhone or what have you. Where like they're all like they're stuck in that ecosystem because of how long they've been a part of it and how much like stuff they have that's like tied to that. So like they can't escape. But like I have not bought a digital PlayStation game in a very, 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 very long time. I've literally only had PS Plus 1 month out of the last like 8 years. Like I don't, I can just step away. Like I think all of us can definitely agree that we all have backlogs massive enough to last us, and like we still like PlayStation's not even our main console, so like this isn't something that we can't walk away from. Like,
Yeah, I will say I'm less upset for me because like I have
you're
tons of
already kind
options
of
for what.
like, yeah.
Yeah, I've been out the door for. I really honestly I got out the door
As soon as you couldn't play
as
PlayStation 5 on like much all anymore, right?
I mean, there's that, but I mean, like, fundamentally, like from a mental perspective, as soon as they went like to the Slim and Pro model,
Yeah,
where the disk drive was like an add-on that
right.
you had to do an internet update to require, like that was like, all right, Sony, what are we doing here?
And that's a good point. Like I don't think people realize that like they already were definitely on their way to trying to make like physical as obnoxious as possible so that they could use it as an off ramp to like just not do it at all.
Yeah,
Like,
so like, I mean, I probably like if the disk drive didn't need an internet update, I might have actually updated my PS5
yeah,
at some point, just to have a a more powerful system. Because I do occasionally, right now, rarely, but I occasionally use it. But yeah, like you said, I don't subscribe to PSN anymore. I haven't done that in years. I did a quick 3 month stint, like what 5 years ago.
yeah,
Yeah.
And that was just around the time I got a uh PlayStation 5, and then I haven't since. I don't really play stuff online. Their offerings usually for free games are nothing to write home about
yeah.
that I want to like play. So yeah, no, it's but the thing I'm like more mad about than myself is honestly for my children.
Yeah.
They don't get an option.
Yep.
Like, and like my children are very very young, so like their whole world is going to be something completely different. I won't be able to tell you what world they're going to get to grow up in anytime soon.
Shittier one.
It will be. But like the argument that like young people are like headstrong into just digital media is also false. Like I'm sure Jack can attest to this, but like the amount of people in like the movie and like music industry uh that skew towards young that are like looking for like vinyl records and stuff on that is like
I
there's a
I mean, even
decent
CD,
population of
there's
like
I mean, even CDs
young
too.
people.
Like kids still buy
Yeah.
CDs and they still like do. I think like just last year, like CDs sold like outsold vinyl for the first time in like a long time.
I
Um,
we don't have much of a presence for it at my Walmart that I work at, but like I see younger people going up to the vinyl section and checking out the stuff there much more often than older people. Like I feel like the oldest I'll usually see is like maybe in like their 30s, like somebody like us. But I'll honestly see like a lot of like, just like barely out of high school, like teen, like college age looking kids like in like their like late teens, early 20s, sometimes just teenagers literally just going to that section. Like I don't see older people doing that. So like you
I
said, it's
think
it's kind of bullshit that like there's this narrative that like young people are just headstrong digital. Like they're not all like that. In fact, a lot of them
Yeah.
would have realized how shitty that situation is because they've grown up in a situation where like the whole economy is shit and everything's out to get them, and they don't want to have to deal with that all the time. They want to have some sort of power for themselves, so they get these
Yep.
things.
Yep. Katie in the comments mentions like her daughter who's much older than my children, like living through like streaming services removing stuff, and it's like, well, if we had just had the it on disc, you'd be able to watch it whenever.
And
Yeah.
that's like one reason that I used to love, like I am probably the biggest PlayStation fan overall out of the three of us, just because I've been with PlayStation since the first system. Now, as far as like the PS3 or the PS4 specifically, you guys might have me beat there because I didn't play as much stuff on that. But like I have always loved PlayStation for the fact that it was a multimedia device. I have used CDs on PlayStation 1. I have played DVDs on PlayStation 2. I have watched DVDs and Blu-rays on PlayStation 3, 4, and 5. Like, I love that it's a multimedia device and I can watch TV shows and play games and listen to music and do whatever, watch movies, anime that I have physical copies of. And like, Sony's not just getting rid of the game section of that, they're getting rid of all of it. You can't have movies, you can't have anime, you can't have TV shows, you can't have games, you can't have anything physical anymore on their system. Nothing. It's all gone.
Well, you see, Cloud. It's okay because now they have like the VR functionality. They have like the extra peripheral where you like put it on your dick and it sucks your dick for you while you're looking at VR porn, and that makes up for it.
No, that doesn't make up for it at all, man.
And don't worry, they're converting all the Blu-ray factories into
micro lens shit, like
optic lens stuff to make more AI data centers, so you can have the AI data center suck your dick off.
All right, well, let's yeah, no, like
anyway, what you guys been playing recently?
I just want to summarize just like this whole situation, and like, so Jack, Landon, you guys basically like already said like what your plans are for the future with this like hellscape apocalypse that we're dealing with.
Sony. I just got a PS5
yeah.
fairly recently, used, mind you, and it's the last PlayStation I'm ever gonna fucking buy.
You got plenty of good stuff to get on that system. That'll last you for like the next 10 years. You don't need to worry about PS6, honestly. You just stepped into the PS5, you're good. And as for me, like I've mentioned, I'm definitely the most wishy-washy on this because there are certain series where I am a shill and I will want to play that new game, but I'm not going to PlayStation for it. Like I will say this, the base PS5 model and anything not including the handheld, there is a literally 0% chance I get it. I am somewhat maybe a little interested in the handheld because of the fact that it's a handheld, but they have to do so much to win me over that it might as well be there's no chance of me getting it. Like I'm talking, you'd have to somehow make a disc to digital entitlement program so that I can play my old games on that PS6 handheld. No chance that's happening at all. So that's not happening. They'd have to make the system not cost an arm and a leg. No chance that's happening. They'd have to make it so that like there is some sort of like competitive pricing digitally. That's another thing. Like they are also doing dynamic pricing, which means that I can go on PlayStation Network and the game might cost a different price than if you guys go on it. And like that's bullshit as well. So like if I have to engage with that in any way, I don't want to. And that's literally the only way that would be a thing for like new games. So like I don't want to have to deal with that at all. Like
they have to improve their refund policies.
Yeah.
On the Sony platform. Because
as soon as you download and play the game, you can't have it. And Nintendo, they have a bad policy with that too, but there's still safety nets. There's still some games that are truly physical. Even the game key cards, like there's some sort of entitlement there. You don't have to worry about that sort of thing because there's other options. But with Sony, that's your only option. And if you download something by mistake or you realize that something wasn't worth the money, doesn't matter. You can't get a refund. They won't take the game back. Oh well. Like that's another thing. Like if I'm gonna get new games, like I have other options. I have a really good, at least for my standards, I have a really good gaming laptop. I don't need PlayStation 6. Like I don't. I have my options. It's not like I I don't take obviously I don't have a PlayStation Portal. I don't take PlayStation with me anywhere. I play PlayStation at home. Guess what I have at home? I have my laptop. I have Steam, good old games, and so many other avenues available to me. Like I'm fine.
Yeah.
Like, and honestly, the less money I have to spend on new games on PlayStation, that just means if I really want to, I can just go buy old games. Like I can like no matter how much people try to say, oh, the games can like deteriorate over time. Well, yeah, if you don't take care of them. Like, yeah, one day they will break on you if you're not taking good enough care of them. But like there are PlayStation 1 discs from the trenches of the late 90s still working. I rest my case.
Disc rot is a fucking myth.
I
I don't
think
care what people say.
I'm gonna say I don't think it's a myth, but it's the side effect of not taking good care of your games and storing them in awful conditions.
It's not a myth. I know it's a real thing, but it's so impossibly hard for disc rot to even happen.
It is overplayed.
I genuinely, I work in a record store. I see people bring in crappy used CDs that have been sitting in an attic for 3 decades to sell all the time. Never once have I seen a disc with a legitimate case of disc rot. I've seen mold. Mold is a different story. Mold is when they get wet and then they don't get properly dried. And then they just that's a different story. And scratches happens all the time. Like discs get scratched if you don't take care of them. It is what it is. Disc rot, never fucking seen it. I'm not convinced that it exists, even though I know for a fact that it does.
In my time working at a GameStop, I probably saw it like maybe once or twice.
And you spent 10 years or so there, like
just about 9.5 years.
That's a long time to only spend it once. To go over just a couple of things Katie said. One of the reasons I was one foot out the door on PlayStation anyway was because they're not going to give us any of our old beloved franchises that we cared about anyway. Like I'm not going to get a new Escape. They're probably never going to revisit Jak and Daxter. They're probably never going to give us a new Sly Cooper. So like, we already don't have stuff to look forward to on PlayStation anyway. So they're pulling this bullshit.
Astrobot has been the most like us at our demographic as there has been, and I still haven't played it. I wasn't in a rush to play it. So
I'll say this now, and I know this is going to be the case. I would rather go out day one and pay $80 for a physical copy of the new Pokemon game than ever spend a single cent on PlayStation ever again directly to Sony ever again. And I know that Pokemon Winds and Waves is going to be $80 physical. I know it's going to happen. I would rather do that than pay any money to Sony ever again. No, I'm good. I get most of my PlayStation 5 games that I have physical, which I mentioned. I only have physical PlayStation 5 games. I don't have any digital ones. I literally have bought 1 or 2 new. The rest are all like secondhand or gifted. So like,
yeah.
Any last things to say, Landon?
I mean, like, no. I think I said my piece. Fuck.
Yeah. Fuck. This shit sucks.
Fuck.
We had to get this out there though. Like we, all three of us, to some degree, are avid collectors of physical games, and we all just know that in some form or another this shit sucks. So we just wanted to talk about it. So let's we like to do like sandwiches. We like sandwiches here at Gaming Stooges. Let's make a sandwich. We had something good at the beginning with the Super Nintendo.
Sandwiches.
We had something shitty with the Sony stuff. So let's let's go back and do something good. Let's talk about what we've been up to. I'm sure we've been up to some cool shit. Jack, what have you been up to? What you been playing? Anything cool and
last couple weeks I'm trying to think.
You did mention you played a little bit of Pokemon Ultra Moon.
I did. I was playing that today, actually. I'm at the Aether Paradise after Lily gets taken away by Plume, or what's the lady's name from Team Skull?
Plumeria.
Plumeria, that's what it is.
I don't know how I remember that.
Yeah, but that's where I am in that game. I've been playing Astrobot a decent amount lately.
Yeah.
I'm a little over halfway through that now. It has been an absolute joy and reminds me of what Sony is capable of when they actually give a shit. It's been a blast. Although I will say, like, my most recent time playing it after the news of Sony killing physical media has just been kind of
it's like
spike-
well,
it's bittersweet.
This is the last best PlayStation game I'll ever play. Like,
man, I don't know what I'm gonna do when they make a new Uncharted. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna buy a fucking PS6 for a 5th Uncharted game. I'm just gonna be like, nope, that's not real. Till they put it on a disc, that's not real. Let's see.
You got back to yeah.
Oh, sorry?
Oh wait, no. Landon was the one that got back to Tomodachi Life recently for a little bit.
Yeah, I've been playing Tomodachi Life like on and off for like weeks, pretty much.
Anything outside the world of gaming, Jack?
Most recently I went and saw the new Jackass movie. It was all right. It's my least favorite of the Jackass movies though, because it's like 50% just a compilation of clips from previous films that I've seen a million times already. So it's like kind of disappointing. The new stuff is good, but yeah. And then went to a soccer game on 4th of July. The World Cup is happening right now, but I did not go to a World Cup game. Fuck that. I went to a local minor league soccer team because I
can only imagine how busy those venues are.
My city has a relatively new soccer team and a new venue, so we decided to go on the 4th of July to check it out, and it's pretty cool. Had some fun. They had good fireworks too. That's about it though. It's been a pretty slow couple weeks for me since the last podcast.
All right. I have a few different things to talk about, and honestly, I'm going to be making a sandwich inside of a sandwich because I have some cool stuff, some somewhat sad news, and then some cool stuff. So first off, I have been playing quite a lot of games. At the top of the order, finally, I have been playing Xenosaga Episode 3. Also, Sprach Zarathustra, I guess is the subtitle. They like to do German subtitles, and they are really hard to pronounce. I have been really enjoying it. I had only been like 8 hours in when I picked this game back up, and I had been told by many a fan of the Xenosaga series that it's a sandwich. You got a really good game, a game that's kind of and then you have a really good game, and they are not wrong. I've been having a blast with it. It took a little bit to get back going again, but like I'm locked in. The plot's getting really crazy. And I really like just how fast the battles are. The battle system's really cool. Xenosaga actually is like one of the earliest implementations that I've experienced of like a break system, like a stagger system. And there's like a whole devoted like meter that you can like manipulate and stuff like that. So really cool. If you like sci-fi and if you like good turn-based RPGs, well, emulate this game because this game is $200 secondhand. I don't suggest spending that much money. I've also been playing a bunch of other games. I've been playing Golden Sun Lost Age a little bit at work. I was already playing that the previous week, but been chugging through a little bit more of that. I've also been playing Hatsune Miku Project Diva X on the Vita. That's been pretty fun. It's a lot different than the typical Hatsune Miku games in the sense that like usually you have like just a song list and you start playing through it and you unlock new songs, like the old Guitar Hero games and the old rhythm games that they don't have much of a campaign. This has a campaign for some reason, and you go to like and you like unlock different sets of songs at one time, and you're supposed to like be restoring these like crystals to like their full shine by like completing the songs and like doing different missions to like for that. It's interesting. It does have less songs because it's more emphasizing the story overall, but it's still a pretty fun game overall, Val, at least. Some sad news though is unfortunately one of my cats apparently is getting a little sick because not Sneezy, but the other one, he is he's been like doing dry heaving, And we weren't sure if it was because he had like a hairball stuck in his throat or maybe, but we had to go to a vet. And I actually called out of work yesterday. We went to have him get x-rays. The x-rays were very expensive, by the way. Um, and they found like he either was starting to develop asthma or he may have had something in his throat. And today he was able to puke up a hairball, but then he did start dry heaving a little bit after that. Not a lot, but like a little bit. So it's like he might still be sick. He might still have something stuck in there, but like honestly, it's more likely he might be starting to develop that. So we're like trying to clean up the house to make sure that we can like make sure everything is as like clear air and stuff like that as possible to try to keep him healthy. And when we get the results back and they find out what's really, going on with that, we're going to try and take some steps to, keep him as healthy as we can. He's outside of the dry heaving though. He's literally like no different. He like was spending a few days kind of like going around kind of shyly moving around instead of his usual energetic self. But he got back to normal. He like still, does his thing where he's venturing around the house. He still does his stupid, loud meowing at random points. He's normal besides that. So that's a good sign. But now we got to look after him a little bit more, take care of him. But some other good stuff is some good news is I've been on the hunt on eBay. Speaking of not giving Sony my money anymore, buying a bunch of used games, and I'm going back to collecting like a lot of my old favorites. So I recently got an auction one for both of the Dark Cloud games on PS2. That really excites me because like that's a big get. I have them on PS4 digitally, and I'm happy with like being able to do trophy support for those. But like I still have a save file on my 20 plus year old memory card for Dark Cloud 2, and I'm going to be able to check that shit out soon. I'm really excited. Um, and I've also got like stuff like Metroid Prime 3 I got coming in the mail because I got to start playing through the Metroid Prime series. We're doing a podcast on that later in the season. So I'm starting to try to collect those. 2 and 4 cost more money than 1 and 3 do, so that'll be a little bit tricky to maneuver around, but I'm going to do my best to get that. And I've got like other games that are coming in. I actually went through over the past couple weeks and like did a Google spreadsheet, and like I actually am tracking my physical games again in a manner similar to Landon, not as detailed. Like Landon's got like releases and like conditions the game are in. Like, is it complete in box? Is it loose? Like Landon's going like balls to the wall with like all the extra info. For me, it's just like, what system is it on? What's the game title? Alphabetize it, done. But like, it's really nice just having like all of that in a list. So I can be like, yeah, I know I have that game now because I have it listed, and I don't have to log into an account on a random website to go looking for it. Like I can just pull it up and be like, oh yeah, I got that one. So maybe I'll stop getting duplicates of games like Final Fantasy Tactics on PSP and Yu-Gi-Oh! The Sacred Cards on GBA. Like
You should
maybe I'll stop
probably
that.
get Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions.
Again on
Go
PSP.
ahead and order that. Just order one of those right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
I don't know why. I don't know how that happened. Like I looked, like I was like looking, like when I didn't find this out until I actually went in and was like listing my games off. And when I pulled the PSP games up, I was like, wait, what? And I was like looking at like 2 copies of the game, and I was like, one of these is like a greatest hits released version on the PSP, whatever. I think they call it favorites on PSP, but like one of those was that, and one of those was like pre favorites. And I was like, oh, all right, I guess I have 2 copies of that. What I need to do is I need to get a PS1 copy so I can have the PS1, the PSP, and the Switch copy. That's what I got to do. But
yeah, you do.
Yeah.
No, Katie, I don't think we need. I don't think we do need to get Bubsy 3D.
Maybe
I think I'm good.
Maybe 4D. I've heard 4D. I've heard 4D's
that's
really
a different
good.
Story.
And
4D maybe, but 3D.
Atari did put 4D on a physical cartridge on Switch too, so that's worth it. Yeah. I think that's everything for me. I don't think I've missed anything major. I mean, I've been pretty much up to the same stuff otherwise. Yeah, I think. I'm not missing anything. Oh, you know what? No. Actually, I played through Star Fox 2 a bunch. I had just started it when we were doing our podcast, and I had only played a couple hours. I played multiple different routes. I unlocked every stage for the challenge medal mode that they have there. I haven't gone into that mode yet, but that game is fantastic. Like I've never played Star Fox 64. This is my first exposure to that actual game with the remake. The game is gorgeous. It plays super well. It's super fun. Like I'll talk more about it probably when we do our year in review, but I had a blast with it. Like that was I'm so glad I actually just went in and got it because I wasn't even sure I was gonna buy it. And I was like, Walmart's got it physical for $50. Fuck it. Good, good, good get there. So I don't know if you guys have played Star Fox on Switch 2 yet, but I recommend it.
I'll get to it. I've heard good things from you and others.
Yeah. Landon, what have you been up to?
I beat Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
Yeah, you were playing that.
How was
That
that?
a great time. Huh?
That really good, honestly. Like I still think it's definitely worth it. It's funny because because of Sony did their thing. Microsoft also did their thing, which was fired a bunch of people. And that's brought up, and then there's been talks about how specifically Bethesda has to go through some like reconstruction of where they're spending time making games, focusing efforts back into their main series. And it's funny, just finishing Indiana Jones, which is a like brainchild of Todd Howard that I feel like is really good. And everyone online is like basically bitching about how he spent too much time like working on games that just are for him and not for like wider audience. A lot of people were talking about Starfield, but it's like seeing that and I'm like, Indiana Jones was actually pretty good.
And besides, it's like if you are as like Todd Howard, you can judge him however you want, but Todd Howard as a creative mind, you don't want to tell creative minds, oh, just make the games I want you to make. Like let them do something creative, and sometimes they'll get you something really good that you didn't know you wanted. Like Todd Howard literally gave Landon Indiana Jones, and he didn't know he wanted it, and apparently it's really good. Like you can't get those games if you're just like, no, just make the games I want you to make. Like, no.
I'm very happy with it. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, I would say, Jack, if you get a chance, check it out at some point because it's definitely within your wheelhouse.
Yeah, I'm sure I would enjoy it. I just got to pick it up.
It feels like an Indiana Jones movie, like turned into like a pretty solid game. There's like 3 levels in particular that are pretty meaty that you get to like explore around the map and do a lot of like puzzles on. And then there's like a couple segments that are like a lot shorter and like more like action story set pieces. But the nice thing is you can go back and revisit any of the areas at any point.
Oh, okay. That's
so
cool.
Like one of the first areas, the first major area is the Vatican. And when you get to the last major area, there's actually a little quest that has you go back to previous areas just to like do a little side quest thing. So they tie it in. It's fun. So you can like explore at your own leisure and like pick up all the collectibles if you want to do like the collectible hunting.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah. That was fun. And then I started and finished Shantae Risky's Revenge. And I had a really good time with that. That was my first time playing that.
Shantae
it's very short.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day. Cloud will have to play
some number
a lot
of Shantae games. Maybe not all of them, but some Shantae games more than the number 0.
I mean, you've played Half Genie Hero.
Part of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's still...
No.
You've played a Shantae game. You might not have beaten a Shantae game.
But I've played a Shantae game.
So yeah, I definitely enjoyed Risky's Revenge, I think a little bit more than the original game.
Yeah.
It's definitely very much streamlined. It's the world is like not
It's not as
as
Metroidvania.
long. It's still Metroidvania because you still have like full access and you have to get power ups to like access certain areas and go back and forth, but it's not as like long to cross. The warping, like the warp mechanic, is a little bit more freeform. You just go to like a statue and wake it up, and then you can go between the statues at any point.
It's the Metroid Fusion of Shantae games.
Basically.
Kinda.
Except it doesn't necessarily tell you exactly where to go all the time. Go here on the map, go here.
Yeah, it's not holding your hand like Metroid Fusion does. Metroid they called it Metroid Fusion because you're fusing hands with the game.
Yeah. So but I like a lot of the characters are, you know, they have some of that classic or some of the characterization you see. It was funny to see like Hypno Baron in his like older original design rather than his newer like half genie hero design, because he's definitely a lot different there. But yeah, that was great. I started what is it? Rhythm Heaven Groove. I played just a little bit of that. I went back, beat Katamari, Once Upon a Katamari. And then I started the Digimon Story Time Stranger demo. And I was surprised at how short that was. People online were saying it was much longer, and I think that might have been the PlayStation version. I don't know if this was like a much shorter demo than what was originally offered, but I beat in like an hour and a half, and I was like, oh, I was hoping for more. But I was able to start like playing around with like digi-evolving.
I'm excited for you to get the full game and play it because it's so good.
Yeah.
Like I feel like you're gonna like it.
That'll be this weekend. Is I'll hopefully have time to pick up my copy, but it's locked, so we don't have to worry about that. It is locked. It is my next game. I've been playing like all of these like shorter games in between Indiana Jones and just because I'm like, I don't want to get caught in something that
Digimon's like
have to pull myself away.
Digimon is like a 50-hour game too, so like you'll want to get out all of your short stuff out of the way before you dive into it.
Yeah, so the only short thing that would be left is Shantae Advance, but at this point I don't have time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm glad you're
it's
getting
pretty much
Digimon.
going to be it's pretty much just going to be Rhythm Heaven and Tomodachi Life until Digimon comes out, and then I'll be focusing in on that.
All right. Yeah. All right, so this has been the Gaming Stooges Talks podcast. We had fun talking about the Super Nintendo. We did not have fun talking about Sony ending physical discs for PlayStation and by extension Blu-ray and stuff like that. So yeah, it's Landon is holding a book that is something that we will be dealing with for our Patreon later this month. So if you are subscribed at any tier, you can look forward to a cool tabletop experience. We're finally going to be diving back into one of those. It'll be fun. But yeah, we'll roll the outro. We'll talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.